Elisa's a lovely woman. She comes to my church, and I've had the opportunity to mentor her now about 2 years. We've been discipling and mentoring, and she's going to share. So just give her a good ear and listen to what she has to say.
Hi, everyone. So, like Pastor Joanna said, I go to Eagle's Nest, and about 1 year ago, the Lord set me free from an awful spirit of infirmity that had been on my life for about 9 years. Yeah, so about 10 years ago, when I was 16 years old, I was getting some really unusual pain in my left wrist. And I went to the doctor, and he's like, well, did you sprain it? And I'm like, no, I don't think so, because I didn't do anything to it. I'm getting, it's cracking and it's popping, and I'm getting all this sharp pain shooting up and down my arm. So I don't really know what's wrong. He's like, oh, okay, well, just rest it for a few weeks, and you probably just, slept on it funny, and you'll be fine. It's like, okay, so I go home, and I wait a couple days, and then I start to get that exact same pain in my right wrist. And now I know I didn't do anything, so I'm like, now something is really up. So I go back to the doctor, and I'm like, you need to help me. I have all this pain. I can't lift anything. I can't write. I can't hold a pen. My joints keep cracking and shooting pain up my arm. What is going on? And he's like, I don't really know. We're going to send you for a bunch of tests, and we'll figure this thing out. So I get put on the list, at the hospitals, you got to go on the list to go through all those tests. So I get put on the list. But as I'm waiting for all those specialist appointments, it's spreading, and I'm getting the same type of pain in my elbows and then my shoulders and my hips. And within a couple years, I had joint pain in every single one of my joints, my back, my fingers, everything. I was completely disabled. I had I couldn't do anything. I was young. I was 16, 17 years old, so I was still in school. I had to stop everything. I went to like a homeschool online type program. I used to play sports. I'm a dancer. I was having all these problems. Everything was just shutting down my body. And I finally got into the specialists, and they're like, you know what, we don't really know what's wrong with you. We can tell you what's happening to your body. We can tell you your ligaments basically are not supporting your joints, and that's why your joints are subluxing. So they're popping out of place and partially dislocating on their own. But we can't tell you why this is happening, and we can't fix it. So welcome to the rest of your life is basically what they told me. They said there was no surgeries that were available. They said I could have painkillers if I want, which I did try, but I was too small, so I didn't work out well. And they said the only thing you can do is go to physio. So if you would like to be in physio for the rest of your life, which is a lot of money, you can experience some kind of like pain management, but we can't heal you, so you might as well just get used to it. And when you're young, that's awful to hear at any age, but when you're 18 years old and your life is just starting, for someone to tell you that that's it was really hard. So I slipped into all kinds of stuff, like depression, all thoughts of suicide, you name it, I had it. And I eventually managed to get myself to that point where I'm just going to accept that this is the rest of my life. And that's it, right? That's all I can do. But then I found God. I found God. And by a completely chance encounter, I'm a dancer, I have a dance studio, someone who's actually here tonight, I saw him, Scott, I think he's here, came into my studio, prophesied over me, and I just knew right away that was God. The first thing I asked him was like, do you have a church? I have to know more about this, I have to find God. So then I started to go to the Nest, and then I got saved, and then I was like, and then I started to learn about Jesus, and people were telling me, well, Jesus can heal. And I was like, well, this is awesome. Like, I have hope again. I was like, this Jesus can heal me. And so I started to get some prayer, and you know what? It wasn't doing anything. I wasn't experiencing any relief or anything like that by getting prayer. And then one night I got prayer from Pastor Joanna, and she's like, this is the Spirit, and you need deliverance. And at the time, if I'm going to be completely honest, I did not know really what that was. I didn't know that a spirit could cause like a physical illness. Like I'd heard about it being like depression and stuff like that, but I hadn't heard that it could cause like actual physical problems. But the more she was talking to me about it, the more I realized like that's totally me. I fit that description. It came on really randomly. There's no really rhyme or reason to it. They didn't follow any rules or patterns, even by what the doctors were saying. So I knew that that's probably what it was. But I was a little bit afraid. But I trusted God, and I just knew in my heart that that was what it was. And so I went for deliverance, and it was a process that I had to go through. You know, there were layers and stuff like that. And after a really intense session, that thing left my body and completely gone. I've been free for a year. It has never come back. And that's what it was. It was a spirit. And so I just want to encourage anybody here tonight who might be like struggling with anything like that and maybe considering coming to the school or coming even to the corporate deliverance sessions. I just want to encourage you, even if you've received prayer before, that was me. I was receiving prayer and it wasn't going away. I had to pray very specific prayers because in my situation, it actually had a legal right to stay in my body because of a sin that I had committed when I was 15 years old, right before it happened, that I didn't even really think was a sin. I just danced in a way that was not appropriate, and that was enough. And it came in, and that was it. So I had to pray very specific prayers, and the same prayers that they're going to be praying next week here at those corporate ministry times. So I just want to encourage you, if you're thinking about it, if you're on the fence, or maybe if you're like me and you're a little bit scared when you heard about it, just do it, because it's awesome, and God will set you so free.